Wives, submit to your own husbands. We can just stop there. We can stop right there. We're already at war. We're already at war with our culture, right? I didn't even finish the whole verse, and we're already at war with our culture. Wives, submit to your own husbands. Let me just point out, right? Let me just make my point here. Number one, this verse, obviously, when we read this, we think about feminism, right? And feminism's war with the gospel, feminism's war with marriage. Great. But do we also consider the fact that in the modern neo-Marxist culture, where everything is seen through the lens of power relations and this oppressor-oppressed paradigm, that to the neo-Marxist, marriage is part of this oppressive paradigm. It is essentially the oppression of women, if you will. So there we have this issue of feminism, we have this issue of Marxism, but then we also have this issue of same-sex marriage right here, because we have wives, submit to your own husbands. Wives and husbands. A marriage is made up of wives and husband. A marriage is made up of a wife and a husband. Are you smelling what I'm stepping in? Here's another battleground. A husband is only a husband if the husband has a wife. And a wife is only a wife if the wife has a... So a wife can't have a wife. And a husband, watch this, can't have a husband. And them's fighting words today. They absolutely are. So we haven't even finished the first verse. And we see here that we're at war. But dare we forget that we're also dealing with the idea of wives as women and husbands as men, which means that we actually believe that there is something ontologically unique about manhood and about womanhood. And that God, who made them male and female in his image. Again, another battleground. Okay? Before we even get out of verse 1. Wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. There's the ultimate battleground. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, his body, and as himself its Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit in everything to their own husbands. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, that he might sanctify her, having cleansed her by the washing of water with the word, so that he might present the church to himself in splendor, without spot or wrinkle or any such thing, that she might be holy and without blemish. Well, now we're entering into another area of conflict. And this area of conflict is any idea that people need to be made holy. In anything that posits the idea that there could possibly be any sort of sinfulness or imperfection in any person other than a white, male, heterosexual, cisgendered, able-bodied, native-born, but ... all the way down to Christian, right? That there could possibly be a need for salvation, sanctification, correction, a movement away from unrighteousness toward righteousness. In the same way, husbands should love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as Christ does the church, because we are members of his body. Therefore, a man shall leave his father and mother, wow, there are those binary terms again, and hold fast to his wife. Here's what's interesting. Again, a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife. Men have wives, women don't. And the two shall become one flesh. This mystery is profound, and I'm saying that it refers to Christ and the church. Here's why this battleground matters. This battleground of biblical manhood, womanhood, and marriage matters because it's referring to Christ and the church. It's a profound mystery that points us to the reality of Christ and the church, points us to the reality of the redemption that we find in the gospel. So we cannot abandon this ground. However, let each one of you love his wife as himself, and let the wife see that she respect her husband. So there it is.